Hello, 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 everybody. I will be recording some stuff here, live, of course, but if it's not live, that's fine too. You can always pop on later and check it out, and I'm good with that. If you're not here for the live sessions, it's okay, but I do have to be available live just in case you need something. So I consider these more for most of my classes just a recording for you to watch later because not too many pop on and watch during class. But if you do, that's great. That's awesome. So here we go. We are going to talk about the slides for today that I posted about 15 minutes ago. Now, keep in mind that I am switching it up just a little. Up until now, I've been giving slides with work at the end, slides with work at the end, slides with work at the end, and then a quiz. Well, I'm mixing it up just like last time when I did the puzzle. So I'm going to throw Edpuzzle into the mix because I like it. It's cool. It's an easy way to generate some grades for you guys. And it's very, very helpful with open-ended questions. And you guys like watching videos and answering questions based on the video. So I'm going to stick with Edpuzzle. I've been using it. I like it. So I am a believer. So we'll be doing slides with a little bit of work, like we did old growth with a little bit of work. And then after that, you had an Edpuzzle on old growth, which I've already graded. And now we're going to do another slideshow with a little bit of work at the end. Next time we meet, there'll be an Edpuzzle. All right. Same way. So it'll be slides with something to do, Edpuzzle, slides with something to do, Edpuzzle, and then eventually a quiz on the information that I'm giving you in the slides. So that's the way it's going to go for a little while because I think it's pretty cool. And I'm going to use it just to mix it up a little bit because it's probably getting a little bit boring for you. I mean, I don't mind coming on every day and doing slides. That's fine. It's not so I don't have to do it. It's just so just to mix it up. I don't want you to get too bored and too used to what I'm doing. So today's slides. Next time we meet, Edpuzzle. All right, let's do the slides. So we're looking at lesson 9, slide 1 here, which says how our forests managed. We need to manage our forests. We need to manage our forests for many, many reasons. And we're going to get into that. Forests need to be managed like anything, right? So they can be protected, so they can do what we want and when we want, right? With forest management, well, let's move on real quick and I'll talk about it. Slide 2 is the agenda. Look at that at your leisure. Slide 3 is the objective. So by the end, you should be able to describe what is meant by forest management and recognize the role played by national forests in land usage. Okay. Slide 4. So this is basically what forest management involves. Forest management involves carefully applied harvesting of trees with their replacement in mind, rather than allowing any type of lumbering. So here's the difference. Lumbering is what we're thinking of. As soon as we think about cutting down trees, as soon as we think about clearing out a section and using the wood for as soon as we think about cutting down trees, we go to a bad place, right? We go to holy crap, deforestation and global warming and carbon dioxide and less oxygen in the atmosphere. And we go all these crazy places. And those places are correct. Okay. And that is where lumbering comes in. Lumbering, big companies cut it all down, make the money, sell the wood, blah, blah, blah. Who cares about what we do to the land and the animals and everything else, right? We need, bottom line is, yes, of course, that's a horrible thing, but we need wood, right? We need wood for construction. There's many places in the world who need wood for heating and for cooking. We need wood. And wood is a renewable resource if we do it right? So we can have trees and we can utilize trees for what we need. We don't need to go nuts and boom, lumber, deforestation. We're going to the extreme. There's a way to do it responsibly. That's what forest management involves. Carefully applied harvesting of trees. So carefully cutting them down in a manner in which we're not going to destroy habitats and destroy massive swaths of forest that won't come back again, because then it won't provide for us. Take care of something, it comes back to provide for you, right? That's the whole point of forest management. We're cutting them down to use them because we need them, but we're doing it in a very, very specific manner, and we're doing it with replacement in mind. All right? That's forest management. Slide 5. How are forests managed? So the next few slides are a bunch of sort of definitions. They are ways of managing forests, okay? One of the major ways And one of the ways nature manages forests as well is fires, right? We know that already. But this slideshow does not get into fires. We talk about how fires are good for forests sometimes, right? And how even humans control burn. We've talked about that. We're not getting into that today. So if that's in your head, hold off, because the next slideshow, forest fires get their own slide presentation. So we're not going to talk about fires here as a way to control forests or manage forests. We're going to talk about all the other methods. First method is clear cutting. Okay, clear cutting can be used to mimic what a natural fire does, right? Clear cutting is when all the trees in a small area are removed to create an open area. All right, so that means, okay, we're in a forest. We're going to take these 2 acres of this thousand acre forest. We're going to take these 2 acres and we're going to clear cut it. That means we're going to cut everything down. All right. Now it's an open field. There's stumps and there's not much left. Quickly, grasses, forage, shrubs are going to grow back. That's good food for the animals, right? That's good for animals to forage. Forests like redwood forests. Redwood trees grow best in open sunlight. All right. And every tree is different, but in redwood forests, where we use those huge redwood trees for a lot of our wood, redwood trees grow best in open sunlight, and they sprout from their own stumps. So some trees, if you cut them down, they will start to sprout from their own stumps. Some trees don't do that. Redwoods do. So clear cutting is a decent option for certain kind of forests like redwood forest, because if you cut down that whole area, you're using all that wood for lumber and you're using that stuff. Food will come back for the animals, grasses, making it a very habitable place. Like, they'll have to move out for a little while if they're a tree squirrel or a bird. They can't live in that direct area, but all the surrounding area is covered by forest, so they could just simply move a little bit and do that. There won't be too much disruption, is the point. And the redwoods will grow back nice because there will be plenty of sunlight and they grow from their stumps, so it's not too much of a difficult thing. So that's clear cutting. Now, that doesn't work for all forests. It's not the best option for all forests, right? That's a decent option for a redwood area, but it's not a decent option for other types of trees. The next one on slide 5 is called seed tree harvesting, right? So seed tree harvesting is similar to clear cutting, except that a few healthy trees are left standing to naturally reseed the area. All right. So think clear cutting, cutting everything down, clearing the area, but leaving a big tree here, leaving a medium tree over there, leaving a single tree over there, leaving a few trees sporadically placed around the area. Because what do? They naturally reseed the area. So they're going to drop their seeds and they're going to replant the area for you, right? You don't have to do any reseeding. So with clear cutting, that first example in a redwood forest, you don't have to do too much reseeding yourself. I mean, you would plant some seeds as well, but you wouldn't have to do too much reseeding because those redwoods grow from their stumps, right? With seed tree harvesting, you're leaving some species of trees all around to naturally reseed the area, all right? And you're leaving one here and one over there and one over there, not too many. Slide 6. There's also something called shelter wood harvesting. So shelter wood harvesting is similar to the seed tree, right? But you're harvesting an area, and instead of just leaving one tree over here and one tree over here and one tree over here, you're leaving. Oh, I have to get this. This is Newark. You can listen. Hello. How you doing? All right. The reason why you're getting locked out of your account, Austin, is you probably have a computer on somewhere in the district. Okay. You probably signed on to a computer somewhere, and what happens is that computer roams and roams and roams. When you're inactive on the one you're on, yeah, that's how you get locked out. Is that computer is attempting to log on multiple times automatically? Yeah, automatically. If you wait 20 minutes, you go back on. Okay. So there's nothing anybody can do until that computer gets shut down. Wow. Is there any way to pinpoint that computer? No. Yeah, not right now. Yeah, no, I get it. So what I've been doing, I'm sorry. what I've been doing is it's getting unlocked, and I go back to the reset thing, and then it sends me that whole unlock thing going to my Gmail, and then I unlock it. So I'm able to unlock it. It's just starting to be a pain in the butt because it's okay. Could it be a computer in my house too? It could be anywhere, right? Oh, so it has to be a district computer. I don't. Okay, yeah, I'm not hooked up on my phone, so it must be something down at the district. Yeah. Right. Right. Okay. It just started. It just started happening yesterday, which is weird. You know, like it hasn't been happening for the last couple of months. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. All right. Well, I appreciate the explanation. I get it now. All right. Thanks. Bye bye. You too. Sorry. That was Newark Public Schools. I have been having trouble getting into my email and into my power teacher. I couldn't miss that call because they don't call back often. So sorry. All right. So we're talking about shelterwood now. Shelterwood is harvesting leaves and leaving, instead of just one here and one there and one there, it's leaving a group of trees, a cluster of trees. Okay. And what that does is that has, like, say, 4 or 5 trees next to each other. They're growing together. It provides shade and it provides shelter to all of the new baby seedlings, because the seedlings are very fragile. So the seedlings, if they're protected by the canopy of 5 or 6 trees, the shade, so they don't get too hot from extreme weather, that's very valuable to these new seedlings. All right. So you can have this shelter wood harvesting as well. So it's not the single tree here and the single tree here and the single tree here. Shelter is, okay, big open area, but here's a cluster of 4 or 5. Here's another cluster of 4 or 5, keeping pockets so it provides shade and protection for the seedlings. All right. The next one on slide 6 is group selection. Group selection is selective cutting, removing individual trees in a cycle. All right. What this means. So it says large trees are cut and smaller trees are left standing to reseed the area. And then when the small trees grow up large enough, they're cut down. Right. So when you're looking for lumber and you're cutting down wood for a reason, you want mature big trees because you get the most lumber out of those trees, right? When you clear cut, you cut everything. So you're also cutting young trees and small trees that aren't really good for lumber yet, that aren't mature enough to get a lot of lumber from. So you're sort of wasting a lot of that area when you do things like clear cut. And even the shelter wood and the other one, you're cutting a lot of this new trees down that you don't get a lot of wood and lumber from. So by group selection, what you're doing is you're growing them up, right? You're cutting down all of the old, bigger trees that provide a lot of wood and provide the right kind of lumber, and you're leaving the little ones alone to grow up. I always think about 2 things when I think about this. I think group selection, I think about Christmas tree farms. If you ever see a Christmas tree farm, you will see sections of this farm, and you will see a section of the farm where the Christmas trees are big and ready to be cut. You'll also see a section where they're pretty big, but they're not really ready. And then you'll see another section where they're real small, like new, couple years old. And then you'll see another section where there's just like little seedlings, little tiny things you can hardly see. A Christmas tree farm, in order to stay in business, has to have different levels because every year they have to be ready to harvest trees so they can sell them. So that's what they do. They wait till they grow up, right? And they still got plenty of other ones coming behind it, and they cut down the ones that they can make the money from. And then they wait, and the next year this one grows up, and these are growing up, and blah, 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 right? So that's what group selection is in a forest. Just think of it on a more massive level than a tree farm. I also think about, like, fishing. I don't fish, but I think about fishing where I think it's more like you you catch a fish, and if it's this big, you let it go, right? And what you're doing is you're letting the fish grow up to a size that's older and more mature. And then if you catch that big fish, then you take it home and you eat it or whatever. But you never take the little ones. You're letting the little ones grow up to maturity. That's kind of what group selection is for harvesting. Right? And then there's one more on slide 7. One more on slide 7 is single tree selection. All right. Single tree selection is strategically removing individual trees, right, of different sizes to maintain biodiversity and different things. This technique is used mostly in protection zones. So a lake protection zone or a wildlife habitat that's being protected. All right. And what this is just what it says, single tree selection. You walk into a forest, right? The forest, whoever does this walks into the forest and they look around at each individual tree. And they say, okay, that tree over there, that's mature enough and ready. That's a good tree to take down. Plus, it'll provide a lot of sunlight to the ground. This tree over here looks a little bit old, looks like it could be falling, looks like it could, be disrupting the ecosystem. Let's take this one down. That one over there, let's take that one down. So selectively cutting down single trees throughout a forest. I was hiking with my kid. We were going down a trail. And we saw, there's trail markers on trees to show you which way to go. But we saw these other marks on the bottom of the trees, and they were like X's, right? And my son, what is that? What is that? And it took me a minute to realize. I had to look at the different trees that were marked like that, but they were marked for being cut down. They were marked for removal. And what that means is this one tree was kind of coming over the trail, so it's probably posing a danger. One tree was really old. So they were selectively marking trees that they should take down in that area. That's what single tree selection is for. And if you are in a protected wildlife habitat, if we're protecting wildlife, we can't go in and clear cut all the trees because then they won't have anywhere to go. They're being protected for a reason. So if we go into a protected wildlife habitat, we need to really look and say, okay, this tree can be removed without damaging anything. This tree can be removed without harming anything. So that's the way that works. All right. So that's slide 7. Slide 8. Back in 1905, the Forest Service was an agency that was created. Okay, they are part of the United States Department of Agriculture. The Forest Service is who is responsible for managing forests. So all the stuff we've been talking about, this is all managed by the Forest Service agency. When you go to parks and you see park rangers, right, and things like that, you see forest rangers. These people work for the Forest Service agency. They're part of the Department of Agriculture. It's a government job. They manage, the Forest Service manages public lands and national forests and grasslands. So they take care of all the national forests. They manage all the national forests, and they also manage all the public grasslands. In the middle of our country is a lot of grassland, and that's what they do there too. First guy to do it, first chief of this Forest Service was Gifford Pinchot. I don't think you need to know his name, but he summed up his mission by this quote, and it's an interesting quote. It says, to provide the greatest amount of good for the greatest amount of people in the long run. That's sustainability, right? Making sure that we provide the greatest amount of good for the greatest amount of people for the longest amount of time, sustaining our environment, doing it the right way, so it will be there for a very, very long time. Slide 9 is a map which you may look at. And basically what it does is it shows all of the national forests and grasslands. So it shows all of the areas that this Forest Service is responsible to manage. Okay. It's over 193 million acres of land all over the United States. And if you put it all together into one lump, it would be the size of Texas. That is a huge amount of area to manage. Right. So you have to think about that as well. And I'll let you look at that map and check it out. You see the Appalachian Mountains on the East Coast where the forest area is, the Pacific Northwest in California where those redwood forests would be. So you can look around and see all the different areas that you'd like. Slide 10 is what you got going on. So you have been watching a video called Survivors of the Firestorm. So at the end of the last couple of slideshow presentations, you have been watching a certain amount of minutes. I think the first one may have been from 0 to 16 minutes or whatever. You're continuing that video. That video, the link is in the speaker notes to links you to YouTube. And you are going to watch the Survivors of the Firestorm video from minute 16 to minute 36. All right. When you are done watching the video from 16 to 36 minutes, you are going to go to slide 11 and you're going to answer this question. This question states which forest management strategy most mimics the natural regeneration for the trees shown in the video segment and why. Right? So what you're doing is on the right-hand side of slide 11, you'll see the 5 different methods that we just went through. Clear cutting, seed tree, shelter wood group, all of that. While you watch the video, they're going to start talking about eucalyptus trees. Listen up. You're going to see which one of those 5 management strategies most mimics what they were talking about with eucalyptus trees and explain why. So did the eucalyptus tree segment really, that really sounded like shelter wood to me. That really sounded like clear cutting to me. And then you're going to explain why. And then you're going to look at the mountain ash tree segment in that video. The mountain ash trees. Once you watch that segment, you're going to go back to that question and say, okay, which strategy most mimicked what they were talking about with mountain ash trees? Was it clear cutting? Was it single tree selection? And you're going to explain why. You can do it right on this speaker note slide and you're good to go. All right. That is really it. Sorry about the phone interruption, but I had to take it. It was very important. So you are looking through all of these slides, understanding those different methods. You are watching that video from minute 16 to minute 36 on slide 10, and then you are answering the questions on slide 11 right in the speaker notes, and you're good to go. All right. Next time we meet, there's going to be an Edpuzzle that's based on forest management. All right. Then the next time we meet after that, we'll talk about forest fires and how they manage forests. And then you'll have an Edpuzzle on forest fires, and we'll keep on going and keep on keeping on. So have a good day. Stay safe. I am done. Today's a long day. I am here till 3:30. Any issues, private message me, please. I have a meeting, a staff meeting at 12 o'clock. So I'll be unavailable for that hour, but I'll check in as soon as that's over. And if you have any problems whatsoever, please get in touch with me somehow. Hope you're staying safe. Goodbye.